Previously on the Frontier Farmer.
Summer has abruptly ended. Right, that's the girls loaded. The other cows do not sound happy. I think they know what is going on. Yep, let's get these two fields nicely mulched up. Let's get to the fields and get on with the manure spreading. Now, new field has regrown as mentioned, so we'll wait a month. Hopefully it does bump up in October. I think we'll put canola in farm side field and then put barley in stone end field, so we are cycling the crops in the field. There we go, that is compacted already. Once it is fermented, that will be compost. Stephanie, I think it is, so she's kindly come to help with the ferrying of the silage from the silage bunker into the silage storage. Beef joints, it looks like a leg of beef. I think next month likely have some weeds out of farm side field and stone end field, so we'll have to deal with them. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Frontier Farmer at the Dark Forest. It is now October, and we are well into autumn, as you can see by the morning misty haze. And another thing you might notice is that farm side field, which has got our canola, which we drilled previously, is now full of weeds. Weeds are absolutely rife, but not to worry, we can deal with those, but it will have to be later. As you might also notice that there is rain on the forecast, so we have got a bit of a rush on this morning. Jump in the International Harvester, and the rush is to get new field all nicely mown. The grass has reached the maximum height, so we are going to get the best possible yield of grass we can, even though we only applied the primary level of fertilizer. But that's going to be 3 cuts we've had out of that field this year, which I'm super happy with. It's given us a good amount of grass to turn into silage. And now it is... oh, gone too far. Whoops. And now that field is going to give us a good amount of grass yet again to keep as grass. I did talk about previously using that grass to convert into hay, but I've done a bit of a stock check and I can see that we have a good amount of hay in the hayloft, about 74,000 litres, so that is going to go a long way for all of our animals that need hay. So the cows have hay as part of their TMR recipe, and the horses take hay as well, but the sheep are going to be in need of some grass. We're down to our last grass bale. So I am going to utilise all of this grass from Newfield to just make grass bales for our sheep for hopefully the long-term future. So yeah, I normally do the headland just as a straight behind with the Haybine, so that's what I'm going to do again, and then I will swing it out again once we have done the first headland and we have enough space to drive alongside. And yeah, let's get this mowing underway. Clock is on to get all of this mown up. We'll be baling it, and then we'll have to clear the bales before that rain strikes, which I think is going to be around midday, 1 o'clock. Hence why we're starting so early. shut it down and wind the haybine back in. And there's nothing like a nice bit of grass work to get started with in the morning. I think that has straightened up. We can adjust if it hasn't. But this haybine is just absolutely perfect for grass work. There we go, need to wind it in a little bit, straighten it up. Perfect. Right. Yes, some lovely rows, and it's so therapeutic doing the grass work. It really is nice, gives you a good relaxing feeling. Right, why is this not straightened? I think I need to just adjust it a little bit more. And there we go. Towing it nice and straight behind the tractor. So yeah, we did the headland just with the haybine behind us, as we haven't got enough clearance around the headland edges. Don't want to be striking any trees. And then we flipped it to the sideways mode. And after we did a couple of headlands, we broke into the rows. And it's quite nice, even though the field is not straight on both sides. We end up with a little bit of a kink on the rows on the far side, but that is alright. It looks quite aesthetic in my opinion, so I do like mixing it up, so it's got a nice pattern to it by the end. Now we use the haybine because it is one of the few mowers that can actually lay a nice swath behind, which is going to be nice and easy for us to come and bale with. I did have plans to use the front and rear mower that is kind of a batwing style mower, but that mows openly and lends itself towards making hay, because you can then come along and ted it and windrow it. But of course, even with the haybine, you can come and use the hay bob, which teds it and puts it back into a nice swath for you. So we do have quite a wide array of equipment at our disposal. Right, is that detached? I hope so. That's better. I should have probably given that a wash, but never mind. So we are making some good time so far. Off to grab the baler. No sign of Artemus near the cabin, so that must mean he's out on his adventures as always. And for the eagle-eyed viewer, you probably would have seen that there was a new small shed placed on the side of Newfield where the vehicle shed is. There we go, we've got our lovely baler attached, and yeah, I think that is hitched up correctly. Nice. We can get that unfolded on the way to Newfield, so it's nice and ready. But yes, there's a new small shed on the far side of Newfield where the vehicle shed is, and that's because I was thinking about the bale logistics. The place where we normally store grass is kind of in the main yard, and it didn't really make sense to load the bales up onto a trailer to only go and deposit them a couple of 100 feet away. So what I have done is I have placed a shed there, a small wooden shed which you can see behind the rock, and basically I am going to get the bales loaded once we have baled them into that shed, capacity permitting, and if we run out of space I can obviously put some in the vehicle shed just on the end there. But yeah, I'm hoping that that is going to accommodate all the grass bales. Let me just check we have got the right and full size for these bales. Yep, we are set to the 240 centimeter bales, so switch on the baler, lower the pickup. There's a bit of straw in there, but that is going to change over to grass nicely. And yeah, we'll see how many bales we get. Thinking we'll get quite a lot. Yeah, once we've got this all baled up, we'll get the bales collected with the telehandler and put into the new but small bale shack, and we can come and readily grab bales from there when we need them for the sheep. And I'm thinking that this stash of grass is going to keep the sheep very happy for a long period of time. grass baling done. And just going to see if I can get this last bale deposited. I don't think I can, because I've already deposited that last one there. So we'll just fold up. So fortunately there's a 90% bale partially coming out there. That's not much of a problem. We did actually miss a couple of little bits, but I'm not too precious about it. I wonder if this slither here will actually give us the 10% we need to churn out another bale. We can give it a go, although I'm not hopeful based on the small size of this swath here. No, it's not going to get us up to there. It's will get us close to 95%. Maybe through some drips and drabs we can just get a last bale out. Let's see. There we go. One more bale created. There was some chunky bits down at the end there, although it hasn't wanted to churn out another bale. Let's switch off and see if we can get that out. There we go. Need to switch it off to get it to remove itself. Fantastic. So, a empty baler, which is often quite a rare occasion. So, we'll get the baler probably washed up. I should have washed the Haybine as well, but completely forgot. But yes, we will wash the baler up. And we have a field full of bales, which we now need to get manoeuvred into that shed. Bets are on, I guess, as to whether you think we'll fit all of the bales in that small shed. It's quite a compact shed, but when they're stacked on top of each other, those bales can fit quite compactly. It depends on how well I can stack them, I guess. So we will see. And I was thinking, whilst doing the baling, that I don't really have a bale shunter to push bales out of the way as we are going, but to be honest with you, I think our front weight on the International Harvester does work quite well as a bale shunter as well. Right, let's get this washed up and returned to the shed. Nice bit of parking, if I do say so myself. Right, baler detached. Takes a little while to detach it, that one, but yeah, I think we can get the tractor just dropped off in here, as there is space, and we want to be venturing over to the telehandler that is parked next to the hayloft. Now, it's unfortunate we don't have a building that can just store raw grass. There's not many that can, unless they are aimed at towards fermenting the grass, but we have a bunker for that, so yeah, and not as much space to place another building for storing raw materials. Come on, I forgot how loud this machine is. We'll get the beacons on, because we're going to be running in and amongst the field. Don't want to hit into anyone, although I think we're the only one on the homestead today. Richard is off doing other things at West Creek and Lake Point and Riverways, like he tends to. So let's head on in, and we'll make sure that we have the bale pongs low enough, there we go, to collect up. Just bring that in a little bit, because I don't want it to be stretching too far. Okay, let's get a couple of bales and get a feel for how well we are going to do with fixing all of our bales, or fitting all of our bales into this shed. It will be interesting to say the least. Right, we've got first bale there, so let's grab the second one. And a bit of a tip: when you're trying to stack bales, you can kind of give the next bale a shunt with the first one, and that kind of lines it up with stacking on top of it. Now, this bale fork can be a little bit finicky from time to time. It has sometimes let bales fall off the end of it, or completely slip through the tines, which is interesting. but we will do our best. Right, we have 2 bales stacked. Need to take it a little bit slow because they will wiggle their way off, I'm sure, if I'm not too careful. And that's another thing, when you're shunting a bale to try and straighten it up, the tines are actually long enough to go through 2 bales, so, or 2 thicknesses of bales, I should say. Right, want to aim for kind of the middle of the bottom bale. 3 bales, which is 2,800 litres of grass. Fantastic. Right, let's head over to the shed and see if we can drop this off nice and neatly. I'm not sure how many high we'll be able to stack in this shed. It is shorter towards the back, so that's something we need to contend with. But we do have the telehandler arm, which might help to make life a little bit easier. Have to, oh, there you go. See, the bales are slipping off the end of the tines there, which is really interesting. I'll have to see how I get on with this telehandler and bale fork. If I struggle, I might be able to switch to the skid steer, but I don't want to if I don't have to. Right, 3 bales in, so successful first load. Wish me luck for the remainder. I think I'm going to try and start collecting from the back of the pile and work my way towards the side that the shed is on. So we're going to get this all loaded in. Wish me luck. I'll have to try and do it before the rain comes. So I'll see you when we're finished. And there we go. The bale rescue has completed, and it ended with a attempt at a 4 stack of bales. But as you've probably seen throughout the bale loading and bale tidying sequence, it has been a little bit frustrating at times. The bales do not like to behave themselves. They like to slide off the end of the tongs, they like to tip over, they like to do all sorts other than behave, really. So I have endeavoured to try and give them a little shove and a tidy up as I've gone along. But to be fair, I think the first few stacks went pretty well, but unfortunately I couldn't get 4 stacks in terms of width. So yes, we had 3 stacks and then a stack on the leftmost side that couldn't quite squeeze in on the back there, but not to worry. We have got all the bales rescued now, which is the main and important thing. And the rain did come in easy to begin with, and then it got harder and harder. So I think the last few bales are probably quite wet, but hopefully they will dry out in the shed once we get a bit of warmer temperature and a bit of wind. That should dry them out, and it won't be too much of a bother. Yeah, I'm glad they opted to build that shed and put the bales in there, as loading them onto the trailer, moving the trailer and then unloading them from the trailer into another shed would have just been as difficult, if not more difficult. So yeah, I am glad we have opted to do that. So if you can't bringeth the bales to the shed, bringeth the shed to the bales. And I guess that is a bit of a mantra to really keep things simple where we can. Right, let's tuck in this telehandler and get it parked up. It is looking quite dirty, although it has been in the rain, so yep, it's had a fair old few trips, this telehandler. And yep, its bale lifting career has been quite a long one. But yes, I'm thinking it's probably the bale fork that is misbehaving and letting the bales slide off. It is rather annoying. Right, I am going to probably slope back to the cabin to see when this rain is due to end. And hopefully, once it does end, if it's going to, we'll get the sprayer out and get to weeding Farmside Field and Stone End Field, which have got lots of weeds in. And I want to do that this month, because if we leave it another month, it will grow up a growth stage, and then driving in the crop will damage it. So we want to be seeing to those weeds nice and early. Right, let's have a cup of tea and check the weather. Oh dear, it is looking like rain for the foreseeable this afternoon. So should we or shouldn't we crack on with herbicide spraying the fields? I think the weeds are plentiful, but in their infancy, so I think the herbicide is going to work despite the rain. So yeah, potentially once we've had and finished our tea, we will jump in the farm, get the sprayer and get those fields sprayed. Now, I'm not sure what I was thinking in terms of farm, because the farm does not have a cab cover, but our international harvester does. So what we'll do is we'll grab the sprayer with this, although the wheels are slightly wider. We are not going to hopefully damage the crop. So we'll get the sprayer attached. There we go, a bit of herbicide left in there. I think this will be the first time herbiciding with the international harvester towing the sprayer, but that should be alright, and hopefully we can get both of the fields herbicided up in good time. Right, here we go. We can get restocked. Fantastic. Right, we will start with, I think, Stone End Field to begin with. That's the furthest away. And then we'll move our way back to Farmside, which has got canola in. Yeah, and Stone End Field has got barley. Now that does draw the question as to what should we do with Newfield that had grass in. I'm perfectly happy to leave grass in and let it grow for one more cut next year, and we will turn that into hay now that we've got plenty of grass. We were literally running out of grass, and the sheep probably would have gone hungry over winter had we not done that. So yep, we can leave Newfield as grass to get hay from it next season, or we can look to re-drill it early next year. We'll see what happens, but I will be interested in your thoughts on that. Right, herbicide can switch on. There we go. We'll get to spraying, and should be, hopefully, quite a quick job to get all these weeds destroyed. Last little patch sprayed, and we can get folded away. And thank goodness, because this weather is absolutely wretched, horrible to work in. Had to turn on the headlights just to see clearly. And whilst I'm on the way back, little detour through to Burr Orchard and Burr Yard, our compost has finished composting. So that is ready to shift now. It's under the blanket, but we can put that in the orchard. I'm thinking we'll probably keep the orchard out of operation over the winter, as the yield of fruit would be very low anyway. So we'll probably look to revive that in the spring. And Stephanie, who was helping us out with the wheel loading of the silage, has completed. So the bunker is now empty, and all of that is in the silage storage shed, and I think there's just over 300,000 litres of silage, so we are going to be pretty good for the foreseeable in terms of silage to support our TMR producing for the cows. And I think the cows are pretty happy. They've been given a readily available top-up of TMR from our mixing wagon. And yes, we got plenty of silage, plenty of hay, and we're going to have some more hopefully in the new year, because I think we will keep Newfield as a grass field. I don't think it needs ploughing, so once we have completely done with the grass field, we can just direct plant or direct drill over the top. So that is going to be most convenient, I think. And yes, plenty of hay and plenty of straw as well in the hayloft, which is pretty good. Right, we can turn off the lights, shut down the international harvester, and we'll make a quick dash back to the cabin so we don't get too wet. But it has been a busy day, a long slog getting those bales put under cover, but we managed it, which is pretty good. Right, I can just stay dry under here, thank goodness. I think next month and over winter I have a couple of ideas of some more productions that are going to help keep us busy. We'll tend to some odd jobs around the homestead, riverways and Lake Point. But yep, that is it for today. Hope you have enjoyed watching. If you have, remember to drop a like and subscribe. If you've got any tips, tricks or things you'd like me to do, then feel free to leave a comment. But all there's left to say is Hope to see you again next time on the Frontier Farmer. Until then, catch you later. Cheers all. Bye bye.